Hello everyone, a warm good evening to one and all. So welcome to Vishnu IAS. My name is Vijay Kumar and I'm an educator of geography and environment, and I have experience more than 6 years, and I have appeared for CSC interview thrice, and I also have cleared many other government examinations. But as I had passion towards this teaching, so I'm in front of you. So I'll be helping you in certain aspects of geography which are very much important for your civil services examination, which is going to happen. Clear? So in that particular instant, so this is the second lecture of the series. We have already started this particular session. So this would be the second lecture of the geography. So please try to maintain certain aspects, like please try to maintain the continuity. If you have not watched the previous lectures, please go and watch those lectures, and please give a like symbol over there, so that that would be an adding advantage for us. Along with that, please do subscribe to Vishnu IAS channel so that you would be getting the continuous notifications, and also please click on the bell icon. So today's first most important topic, it is normal lapse rate. Clear? So generally, while we move vertically up in the atmosphere, what happens is, because of decrease of density of gases, the temperature tends to decrease. As everyone know, 97% of the gases which are present, they are present within the 5 kilometer range itself. That's the reason why maximum, while we move above the atmosphere, so the temperature starts decreasing within the troposphere. This normal lapse rate would be applicable only to the troposphere. Clear? So that particular fall of temperature with increasing height, that would be called as normal lapse rate. Simply, lapse rate defines as, lapse rate is the rate of change of temperature of atmosphere with altitude, and that would be decreasing of temperature. Generally, maximum, in a general manner, temperature tends to decrease. Clear? So the temperature tends to decrease by around 6.5 degrees centigrade per every 1000 meters. Do remember this particular point, it is highly important for you. So for example, the lapse rate is considered as positive when temperature decreases with height, and lapse rate is considered as zero when the temperature is constant with the elevation, and it is called as negative when the temperature increases with elevation. In certain aspects, we would also have increase of temperature, that we would be calling it as temperature inversion. Within upcoming few minutes, we will also discuss this particular aspect of temperature inversion as well. Do remember this point, it is highly important for you. So lapse rate simply refers to the fall of temperature with elevation somewhere around 6.5 degrees centigrade per every 1000 meters. We would be having decreasing of temperature. So in generally, this is called as positive lapse rate. Sometimes it is also called as environmental lapse rate as well. So don't confuse between environmental lapse rate and normal lapse rate. Both are similar in nature. Clear? So if you see, like within the atmosphere, we would be having troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, ionosphere, exosphere. But instead, this particular lapse rate is only related to troposphere. That means within the troposphere, generally we would be finding the positive type of lapse rate. So beyond the temperate, like troposphere region, we may find negative lapse rate, we may find constant lapse rate in certain instances. But in general, our conditions near the troposphere are highly important, because maximum weather phenomena takes place, like cloud formation, rainfall distribution, and all the pressure systems, they generally are associated with this troposphere. So that's why what is happening to the lapse rate within the troposphere is highly important here. So as I've already said, the lapse rate of non-rising air. So the lapse rate of rising air is different again. That would be considered as adiabatic lapse rate. In the next slide, I'll be discussing about adiabatic lapse rate. So the lapse rate of normal rising air is highly variable, being affected by various factors. Clear? As I've already said, the average would be somewhere between 6 to 6.5 degree. The maximum it reaches to 6.5 degrees centigrade. Do remember this, like everyone know what are the greenhouse gases, like carbon dioxide, water vapor, which are the primary absorbers of terrestrial radiation. Their concentration is very much high closer to the earth and moving above in the atmosphere, the concentration of CO2 and water vapor and the rest of the greenhouse gases, as they decrease, no one is there in the troposphere to trap the heat. That's the reason why generally temperature falls with the altitude. Do remember this point. In assertion and reasoning they might give you, with the increase of temperature, with the increase of height, we may have decrease of temperature, and in reasoning they may give this is because of absence of greenhouse gases, or they might say it as like the density of greenhouse gases would be decreasing. As this is absolutely true. So in assertion and reasoning kind of statements you may find this particular question. And we also have one more lapse rate, that is just considered as adiabatic lapse rate. Here also it is lapse rate. Do remember, anywhere you read this word called as adiabatically, simply remember that it is internally. Do remember this. Here you do remember this bolded statement, adiabatic or adiabatically. Heat doesn't enter or leave the system. All the changes which happen, they happen internally itself. For example, if you have a rising air column vertically, it would be called as convection. If you have an air column moving horizontally, it would be called as advection. So in this particular convection, generally what happens is the temperature or the heat which tends to fall out. Generally why air tends to lift up is when the land surface is heated, the air mass would also be heated. So when this particular air mass would be heated, when it would be warmer, it becomes lighter, it increases with volume, pressure within the system falls, within the air itself, pressure within the air falls, and hence air tends to lift upwards. So the temperature of the air with the altitude tends to change. That doesn't have any connection with normal lapse rate, but within the air column, within the system, the temperature tends to reduce. So the temperature which tends to reduce, that would be called as adiabatic lapse rate. Do remember this particular definition. Adiabatic lapse rate is rate of fall in temperature of rising or a falling air parcel adiabatically. So generally when the air column is moving upwards, we would be having reduction of temperature within the air column, and that tends to form condensation process. So adiabatic lapse rate would be having direct connection with the condensation. If the system within the air column, if the heat within the air column doesn't reduce, the condensation process doesn't happen, and the hydrological cycle which is present, that tends to that doesn't tend to fulfill. So hence adiabatic lapse rate would be having a direct connection with that of condensation. So they might be directly asking keywords like this, like consider the following statements related with adiabatic lapse rate, consider the following statements related with normal lapse rate. So these kind of certain questions would be asked by UPSC. So you please try to channelize these particular keywords. And on the basis of normal lapse rate, we have a condition, that is temperature inversion. As I've already said, moving altitude wise, what happens is temperature generally tends to decrease, but in such circumstances, in certain circumstances, the temperature rather than decreasing, it tends to increase. So rather than the temperature decrease, we have increase of temperature. So that process would be called as process of temperature inversion. So as I've already said, which is a positive lapse rate where the temperature usually decreases with height. So temperature inversion refers to reversal of normal behavior of temperature in troposphere, whereby generally this temperature inversion happens during the winter seasons, whereby cooler air masses, like what happens within the winter season, as everyone know, we will be having very less amount of insolation which would be reaching onto the earth surface, and that less amount of insolation would be completely radiated back by the evenings. If you could see by 6 a.m. Like by 6 p.m. or 5:30 p.m. the sun starts setting down. So what happens is the surface temperatures, the heat which has been absorbed by the surfaces, they tend to radiate back completely. Hence the surfaces become completely cool in nature. So when the surfaces become completely cool, cooler air masses settle near to the ground surface, and they tend to lift the lighter warmer air masses upwards. So what generally happens is cooler air mass as it is denser, we would be having cooler air mass settling on the ground surface, and lighter warmer air masses tends to be lift upwards. So during that condition what happens is we would find warmer conditions at the top and cooler conditions at the surface. So during such kind of phenomena we would be experiencing increase of temperature rather than decrease of temperature. So this phenomena would be called as negative lapse rate, or it can be considered as temperature inversion. Like generally within India, if you see during the temperature inversions, we would observe foggy conditions during the morning, dew conditions, which is also a process of condensation. So these fog, smog or dew conditions which are present, they are the consequences of temperature inversion. Either already this question was asked in UPSC mains in 2013, chances are there they might repeat the question in the UPSC mains, like somewhat indirectly they might ask you like what are the consequences when we have temperature changes, explain the temperature distribution vertically and the changes which happen within the temperature. These kind of questions might be asked in UPSC. Otherwise they might ask what are the ideal conditions which makes the temperature inversion to happen. The first one such kind of ideal condition is longer nights. So generally we can observe longer nights in winter so that the outgoing terrestrial radiation is greater than incoming radiation. So longer nights during when we have winter season, when we have these longer nights, outgoing radiation would be more than the incoming solar radiation. Hence what happens is entire warmness would be entered into the atmosphere, the surfaces would be completely cooled down. Apart from this, if you see the second most important condition which we should have is clear skies. So clear skies which allow unobstructed escape of radiation. So when the radiation would be present, if cloud formation happens, then what generally happens is we would be having obstruction of the heat, and this obstructed heat would be radiated back again. This is called as re-radiation process. So this kind of condition might observe. That's why clear skies would also be the ideal conditions. Longer nights, clear skies, and also calm and stable air. So it's not like gushy fast moving warm winds or gushy instability of wind systems. If they are present, then also this temperature inversion is not possible. So in the present decade, like in the urban cities, we are experiencing smog, especially in Delhi like urban centers. So smog is nothing but combination of fog plus smoke, the pollutant matter which has been increased within these urban centers, that has resulted into this smoggy effects. So maximum consequences they wouldn't be asking in prelims, they might ask you about the ideal conditions. So please do prepare along with this long nights, clear skies and calm and stable air. Clear? So yesterday, like we have seen some of the periodic and seasonal winds. We have seen about in the last lecture, we have seen about monsoon and we have seen about land breeze and sea breeze. Now we will be seeing about valley breeze and mountain breeze, which is also considered as one of the periodic winds. Clear? So here I'll explain it with a picture. If you see in general, as a land and water, how they have differential heat, mixing up of heat, like when the heat would be entering the water it takes longer time, when the heat is leaving the system of water it would be taking the time. In the same regard, what happens is we have a mountainous slopes and we have valley flows. Either we would be having mountainous slopes or we would be having valley flows. So in comparatively with valley flows, mountainous slopes would be heated very fastly. When mountainous slopes would be heated very fastly, the air masses which are present here, they would be warmed up and they tend to raise upwards in this way. And as they raise upwards, here we would be having low pressure conditions which would be created. Do remember there are two statements. Whenever air mass is lifting upwards, there we would be having low pressure conditions are developed. Wherever air mass is descending, there we would be having high pressure conditions. Clear? So in this particular regard, any air column which is ascending upwards, it tends to descend down. and here we would be having descending of air column at the valley floors. So whenever we would be having descending of air column, obviously it is true that we would be having high pressure conditions. So in this particular regard, what happens is the surface movement of air tends to move from valley towards the mountainous slope. As we have descending air column here, to finish this complete cellular structure of air circulation, we would be having movement of air from valley to that of mountainous slope. Hence, this happens during the day session. So this kind of particularity which happens, that breeze is called as valley breeze. So this happens within the morning session. So along the mountainous slopes and the valley floors, we would be having this particular valley breezes. During the night, completely the thing reverses. Valley floors take some time to enter the heat into that particular system, and it will also take some time to radiate the heat back. So during the nights, valley floors are warmer when compared to that of mountainous slope. So what happens is, as valley floors are warmer, we would be having ascending air columns. So warm air ascends, it tends to descend on mountainous slopes in this way, creating low pressure conditions at the valley floors and high pressure conditions at the mountainous slopes. In this regard, what happens is we would be having movement of surface movement of air from mountainous slope towards that of valley floor. Hence, this which tends to move in the night, it would be considered as mountain breeze. So again, next day in the morning, we would be having valley breeze. Again, next day in the night, we would be having mountainous breeze. In this way, it is a cyclical process which generally takes place. So hence, that's why it is also considered as one of the periodic winds. Is this clear for everyone? And some more important aspects which are very much important for preliminary examination, it is tertiary or local winds. So generally, local winds are those winds which are created because of changes which happen within the local temperatures and pressures. So what generally happens is, there might be some change with the change of season, there might be some change of temperature and pressure with the change of season. During that particular circumstances, under the change of temperature and pressure, we would be having origin of these particular local winds, which are local in nature, and their nomenclature, the name of these particular local winds, are also derived from the local languages. And these local winds, they influence the local climatic conditions. Earlier we have seen trade winds, westerlies, which drain the eastern margins. Trade winds, if you see, they drain the eastern margins of the countries. Westerlies, if you see, they drain the western margins of the countries. So in this particular regard, these particular local winds which are created because of the differences and changes which happened between the local region, the local temperature and pressure difference, have resulted into formation of these local winds. Hence we would be experiencing this particular aspect of origin. So along the global level, we have such kind of 100 type of local winds, but no need to remember each and every type of local wind. Either remember this particular aspect. For example, they might give you Chinook, Norther, Northy, Blizzard, all these local winds which are present, they belong to which continent? Or they might ask this question also. Consider the following local winds which are present in North America. Consider the following local winds which are present in South America. So if you see Chinook, Blizzard, Norther and Northy, they are those local winds which are present in North America. And if you see Pompero, and here you will also find one more wind called as Nick. This is also present in South America. And if you see Levanter, Mistral, Bora, Foehn, Helm, all these are most important local winds of Europe. Sirocco, Khamsin, Harmattan, Habub, Berg, and Harmattan is also called as Doctor Wind. All these winds belongs to this particular Africa. Karaburan and Buran, they are almost same, like Buran extension is Karaburan, and Lu within India, Elephanta within India, they are Asia's local winds, along with that Brickfielder and Southerly, all these, and northwesterly winds. All these are all these belong to this particular Australian continent. So please try to remember these particular keywords which are highly important for you. The reason behind it is, until now in the preliminary examination, excuse me, until now in the preliminary examination we did not got any question related with this. Clear? No need to remember everything, but there are few, at least you have to remember them. For example, first one is Lu, as this is associated with India in the Thar desert region within the summers, like deep summers in the May and June, in the northern plains of North India, that is around Rajasthan plains, and in the Pakistan region, due to sudden temperature and pressure changes, a very hot and dry wind. Please do remember the characteristic of these wind also. They might ask you which of the following local winds are hot and dry winds, which of the following local winds are cold winds. They might ask this question also. So please try to be prepared in this particular aspect. Clear? So Lu, one of the local wind which starts from Rajasthan region, blows from the west in the May and June, usually in the afternoons. So that particular very hot and dry wind is considered as Lu. So the temperature of this particular local wind varies from 45 to 50 degree, and as it starts in the afternoon from this Rajasthan plains, so by somewhere around 3 p.m. 4 p.m. they reaches this Indo-Gangetic plains, and after these Lu winds enter into this Indo-Gangetic plains, here in this region of Indo-Gangetic plains we would experience average change of 2 to 3 degrees centigrade. So for example, average temperature of Indo-Gangetic plain is 30 degree. It changes itself into 32 degree or 33 degree centigrade. So suddenly there would be drastic increase of temperature within this Indo-Gangetic plain region. So that would be considered as Lu. Clear? So this is the most important aspect. Apart from this, when it has 45 degree to 50 degree centigrade, it will result into sunstroke to the people, and many people during this month of May and June, they would be affected by this particular sunstroke. That's why early warning systems under the Lu would be given to the people who reside in and around the northern India or northern plains of India. This is one most important wind which you have to remember. And one more important wind which you have to remember is Foehn within the range of Europe. So Foehn is also a hot wind of local importance in the Alps. Alps are the important mountain ranges of Europe. They are also fold mountains. So what are fold mountains? We will be discussing in the next lecture. So it is a dry, warm wind which develops on the leeward side of the mountain range. What is leeward side? For example, wind is coming in this direction. This would be the windward side, and back to the mountain is called as leeward side. Back to the mountain, every time we find the rain shadow region. Are you getting this point? So in this particular rain shadow regions, we call this rain shadow region as leeward side as well. So within this dry region or rain shadow region of this Alps, this particular Foehn would be originated, and as the wind takes a movement, clear, what happens is it may create some bit amount of precipitation, but mostly the temperature of the wind, as it is in temperate region, it varies between 15 degrees centigrade to 20 degrees centigrade. So this Foehn wind which is hot, it creates like orographic precipitation, and also it would have some constant temperatures which would be present between 15 to 20. And because of this wind which would be moving, this wind particularly helps in animal grazing. Generally Alps mountains, as they are located in the higher latitudes, they would be covered with snow. So what happens is this particular Foehn wind, as it is hot, when it starts moving onto this snow, it starts melting the snow, whereby the melted snow converts as stream and tends to move. So this is one point which helps in animal grazing. When the water would be flowing, obviously the grass or the rough grass like structures which would be present, they would help in animal grazing, and also it helps in aiding the ripening of grapes. Do remember this. So this is one such kind of most important wind in and around this Europe region. And next wind which is present, that is Chinook. Chinook are foehn-like winds in USA and Canada. If you see the location of Chinook, like in the North American region, so here we would be finding Rocky Mountains. This Chinook bypasses this Rocky Mountains. It is warm wind, and these slope, when they move down the west slopes of Rockies, they start melting the snow on the Rockies. That's why this particular Chinook is also termed as ice eater as well many times. So because of this Chinook moving in and around this Rockies region, what generally happens is the snow would be melted and different streams start originating. Many rivers, they originate from Rockies because of melting of the snow. Clear? So this is highly important. It is beneficial to the ranchers who are located east of the Rockies, as it keeps the grassland clear of the snow. So when the grasslands would be clear of snow, when the Chinook would be blowing, easy agricultural process would be taking place. So this is also one such kind of important wind which is present. And next important wind in and around Europe is Mistral. It is also very, very important. It was in news. So please try to remember this particular local wind. It is one of the local names given to such winds that blow from the Alps over France towards Mediterranean Sea. So they blow from north to south. It is very easy to understand once you see the map. And it is channeled through the Rhone Valley. There, if in Europe, if you see, we would be having Rhine Valley and Rhone Valley. This Mistral tends to blow over there, and it is very cold and dry with a high speed. So wherever it would be reaching, it starts reducing the temperatures of that particular region. It is quite opposite to that of Lu. If Lu is increasing the temperatures in Indo-Gangetic Plain, this Mistral, when it is channeled to different regions, it starts reducing the temperature in those particular regions. Please do remember this particular statement. Clear? So in this particular regard, we would be having this aspect. Along with that, one particular wind which would be present, that is Sirocco. Like Sirocco is a Mediterranean wind that comes from the Sahara and reaches the hurricane speeds in North Africa and Southern Europe. It arises from a warm tropical air mass. Like simply, this particular Sirocco wind, it starts from Saharan desert region. So from where it starts, it catches a red sandy cluster, and this particular Sirocco wind, by catching the red sand, it enters into the Mediterranean Sea and it catches the moisture and it reaches until the Italy region, and hence near the Italy we would be finding one island called as Sicily. And here, by catching the red sand, by catching the moisture from Mediterranean Sea, in the Sicily region, we would be experiencing the precipitational patterns. So we would have development of red rain over there, which is considered as blood rain. So the precipitational patterns which are developed in and around this particular Sicily region, they are highly important and they tends to create precipitation over there. Are you getting this point? So in this particular regard, we would be experiencing huge amount of change in climatic conditions by these local winds. They are highly important for you. Please try to focus upon all the local winds. I have given the explanation of few, but there is no necessity to go beyond it. At least remember Mistral, Foehn, Chinook and Lu and also Sirocco. They are highly important. Their characteristics might also be asked in UPSC. Clear? So these are today's topics. In the next lecture, I'll be coming up with various aspects. So please try to subscribe to our channel Vishnu IAS, and also please click on the bell icon so that you would be getting the continuous notifications of the free lectures which we would be doing. Clear? So if you have any doubts, you can drop in the comment section. There I would be watching them. I'll be explaining them orally within the next lectures. Thank you for watching this lesson. Have an awesome day. Jai Hind.